to a very long overdue model railway update. It's actually the first model railway video I've made in a proper model railway video, running sessions aside, in about 3 years. So I better, before I get into everything, because I've actually been rebuilding the layout for, I think, the third time now. I've had this layout for about 8 years, and I've had to put it in store for the last 3 because various things came up and we had another house move and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I got it out late last summer and I've been working very hard where I can to improve. Now I have got a lot done. I would have liked to have shown some of the processes that I did, but a lot of it was sort of experimentation and kind of the first time round for me, so it was just easier if I did it off camera, and I thought the more I do, the more I can show once I do a video. Apologies for the current mess over there. There's not really anywhere else I can put all of that at the minute. So yeah, as you can see, it has a slightly revised track plan. I've made the yard a little bit smaller and a little bit neater. As you can see, I've added plenty of signals. This is probably about 60% of the signals in. There's a few more to go in. Few bits here and there. One of the biggest changes is all the points in the yard, the point that goes to the yard, are all code 100. Electrofrog made the switch to that. These aren't, because I already had, these are just your standard Hornby Express points with the huge dead zones. I should really have put Electrofrog ones in, but I just sort of had these. I wanted to put them down, so that's kind of why I did that, and that's why they've got surface mounted point motors, but they do work in conjunction with each other. So I better take you on to the yard, which has been my biggest next project. So this is the newly revised yard. We now only have 3 sidings. Basically this one, which curves around to the back of the shed, is sort of a coach, wagon, DMU sort of siding, with a catch point there. So we've got loose vehicles with handbrakes on, should any of the brakes fail, the catch point's there to catch it. And yeah, basically I've been working the last 2 days on really hammering, weathering and adding little details to the 2 loco sidings. This is probably the biggest new addition, which is a Bachmann engine shed. I know it's in southern colours and everything else on this layout is in Great Western colours, but it looks absolutely sublime. It's exactly the right length. I basically tailored that siding to that shed, and probably the biggest other project that I've been doing, if I take that off, is I've added a concrete base, which I've been making out of filler. It took me 2 days to do that. So I'm quite happy with how that turns out. It just gives sort of another level of depth to the shed, if you like. I'll put that one back on. Doors flapping about all over the place. And that's my old ratio coal stage, which does need a revamp. And I've also got a warp tower that's going to go in there. As for the signals, we've got a dapple distant over there, which is a little bit noisy, but works quite well. And then we've got one of the new junction signals, which they made there, which came out over Christmas, which works really, really well. I'd like to get another one to go on the other side of the crossover eventually. And then we've also got down here one of the DC Train Tech ground signals, which works very well. It's LED, really fiddly to wire up, but worth it once it's in. Obviously the rest of the track is due to be weathered. I have got a lot to do. I mean, I've basically just been working on this corner for the last few months, and my next project really is to relay that outer curve, which, as you can see in the video, looks really bad. I laid this, excuse my phone there, I laid that about, nearly 10 years ago now from Hornby Set Track. There's no gaps for expansion. It was my first ever go at ballasting, so it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great either. You know, I've come a long way from doing that to that now. Oh yes, I forgot to mention the fencing. That's all ratio GWR line side fencing. Some relay boxes in there. These are all the buildings at the minute are Batman Scenecraft, but I've got some Metcalf stuff that I made for it last time that I haven't put down. And I was thinking about getting a control panel, but with the size of the layout and everything, it was just easier to put the normal Pico brackets that you get in there, and a lot of the double point motors switch together on one switch rather than what I had before, where they're all single, because it just makes more sense. So yeah, my next project really is to relay that curve on the outer loop round to the back. And for all the track weathering I've been doing so far, I've just been using the standard Pico P-Wave ballasting kit. That paint there was used for that siding, which was a superb paint to wear with. It was perfectly thin for my airbrush. Barely had to clean it out at all. It was fantastic. I haven't used any of this grey powder because I'm not entirely sure what to use it for because it's a bit light. But you also obviously get your bog standard coal dust and ash. I have used real ash in the past, which is very good, but it is a little bit lumpy, if that makes sense, if it's made out of real charcoal. Depends on what you've been burning, really. But yeah, it's all going fairly well, still ironing out a few sort of teething problems here and there, and I hope everyone's well during the current situation, which is sort of all driving us crazy, but luckily I've had this to really crack on with. So in the future, I'm obviously going to be putting a station around the back there, like I had before, but I am going to extend the board on the other side, hopefully, so I've got a proper station in there. And basically the signalling is going to work, well, it'll be the same on both loops, it will sort of mirror itself. So obviously we've got a junction signal here on the inner loop, and there'll be a section signal there that will double as a station starter. And then down here we'll have a distant sort of around here, halfway around the curve. And then obviously on the outer loop we've already got a distant there. So the station starter will be sort of over there where that can of butane is. And then the junction signal will be somewhere around here. So yeah, that's roughly how it's going to work. I'm probably going to try and wire up the distant and section signals to the same switch. Just going to have a go and see if it works or not, really. And talking of wiring, I'm extremely grateful to my good friend Matt for setting up most of the wiring. I've added little bits and bobs to it, and for genuinely having sort of quite brilliant little ideas here and there, because it's working really well, even though it looks a bit messy. That's how all model railway wiring works. Obviously I've kept this all analogue because it's just simple and what I like and what I've always been about, really. Digital's just a bit too fiddly because you have to set up your entire layout to run it. And yeah, it's going pretty well. These are all ratio yard lamps which aren't lit. I'm hoping to add some of that, is it Wood and Scenics? The Just Plug system, which is quite good because all the Batman buildings are pre-plumbed for that, obviously, like the shed and those two little sheds and any other buildings that I get. That'll be sort of the next project once I've done some relaying, because I can't do the board extension for the platforms yet. I'm also going to be isolating the back straight on the inner loop so that you can move stuff in and out of the loop without disrupting what's running round on the inside loop. I'm also going to order one of the new Hornby GWR signal boxes that's due for release later this year to go. I'm thinking sort of here. I've got some animals to put down in this corner as well. That corner is probably going to mirror that corner. Excuse the white marks, that's just some filler from X wiring holes. You may remember I had all my wires went in there because that's where my granddad put it when I first built the layout. So that's all gone and that will all be coated over so you didn't even know it was even there, hopefully. Same with these holes down here. So yeah, it's getting there. I mean, it's taken me about probably 4 months to really detail this section, and I had to replace, I tell you what, 2 years in the shed did not do this layout any good. I mean, the board's fine, and I've supported the board properly now. It's not on a dining table like it was before, which was just horrendous. Because, well, it's fine until you want to run wires underneath to power things. But yeah, I've supported it properly this time, and I had to replace every piece of track on the inside loop because I was rust painting one of the corners on the other side and I literally just brushed it and all the chairs fell off and the whole thing popped up. It was terrible. So yeah, I've had to replace all of the track on the inside, which is not surprising because I put no gaps for expansion. It was all rubbish Hornby tracks. So yeah, as for the outside loop, the only track I've replaced on there is half of this curve and the flexi track around here, and then the rest is all original track. So yeah, I really want to get that done because it's already getting up to about 20 degrees outside, so as soon as the sun hits, I think a lot of it's probably going to start popping up, so that's why I cracked on and got the yard finished here, and then and then I'll hopefully be able to crack on with some track laying. I'll probably move the board out a bit from the wall to really get on with that, and then once that's done, I can do some track weathering on the main. But yeah, I might do a little running session in a moment. But apologies for not doing one for so long, really. Life's just been a bit hectic, and sort of I kept thinking about doing a video, and then every time I thought about it, more stuff that I'd ordered arrived. I wanted to do, wanted to put more of it down. And yeah, hopefully you guys like what I've been doing so far. Obviously, not a lot of it's really prototypical. It's not based on anywhere or any particular region. It does have Western region signalling, but it's sort of going to have things from all regions on it, because that's just sort of what I'm like. I've got stuff from all regions. So yeah, let me know what you think and what you'd like to see. If you want to see certain things modelled, if you want to see certain trains run, that sort of thing. And I'll finish off with the running session, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.